This just in. Roland Play Press and 3 Black Halflings have launched City of the Black Rose on Kickstarter, running May 28th to June 26th. A horror noir setting for D&D 5e, Daggerheart, and any fantasy RPG. Unravel mysteries, strike shady deals, and hunt the monsters haunting fog-choked districts. Inside, you'll find twisted NPCs, sinister factions, and even a Daggerheart campaign frame. Plus, early backers nab a complimentary Black Rose dice bag. Tune your dial to rolandplaypress.com/COTBR and play.
So when last we left off, you had just been bound by Synapse's nerve endings, and the way that he has essentially tied you is he's tied your hands together, and then with that same band of nerves, it has snaked down to your feet and tied them together as well. So each of you have like a separate band of nerves holding you together. They feel, for most of you, uncomfortably tight, and also like every time you move or brush against them, you get like a flash of an emotion or a sensation. Like memories are bubbling up as soon as you brush against these things, whenever you pull against them. The only one of you who is not tightly bound is Hecatae. Hecatae, you are loose enough, tight enough that you are still, they are still on you, but loose enough that you could slip away potentially if you were able to work. You would have an easier time of working your way out of them. Currently, Synapse is walking behind all of you towards down the stairs of the Carnelian, taking you into the basement and presumably to the manager's office. Do any of you do anything as you are walking down these steps?
Hecatae is thinking furiously of what they have up their sleeve that they can do the second that they get somewhere safe. They don't want to endanger anybody by doing something too soon, so they are doing their best. I think like they're really sweaty too, knowing that this guy is behind them rather than in front. They do not like that, so they have kind of mentally told Blix to keep an eye out, and he's got like all of his little shadow furs on edge, staring at this guy with real mean-looking ferret eyes.
Blix is mean-mugging up a storm. As you all are going down, I would like to have a brief flashback, because we've seen why Zuìhuo and Erzan are here. I would like to jump over to Hecatae and what brought you to this place, and perhaps more specifically, what brought you to Zuìhuo and eventually to Erzan. Can you set the scene for us? Let's start with you meeting Zuìhuo for the first time. Can you set the scene of when and what circumstances, and both of you can jump in on this, both of you are going to be in this scene, on how that happened.
After the events of Herald of Shadows, Hecatae was able to make enough money and find enough courage to buy back Hopewell Funeral Parlor from the wicked people who were running it, and now have kind of taken their place in their family business. They were putting on a funeral that day. They had set everything up really nicely, didn't really know too much about the person who had passed, and were kind of just milling about the front, making sure that, all of the little pamphlets and scrolls that had this person's illustrious life kind of illuminated on it were nicely decorated, making sure that all of the flowers were, keeping healthy and redolent to try to lift some of the pall that's in this space, and the sadness that people were having, and just kind of tidying stuff and working on that sort of thing. As I saw someone just sort of standing by, they could see almost an aura of heavy energy on this person before they approached. They seemed to be sort of trying to figure out where they wanted to stand in this space.
And I will actually add to this. Not only is there a heaviness around them, but it feels... there's something around them that feels like it is both of them and not of them. Like it's connected to them, but also like a separate entity that has sort of connected itself to them. And it also feels heavy. There's a magic there, a dark magic that has brought something and connected them to this individual. Zuìhuo, what are you doing at this funeral parlor? And what do you look like as you're sort of looming in this, I imagine, a much nicer location, even though this is still in the Lowers?
Zuìhuo is lingering by the door, literally 1 foot in, 1 foot out at the threshold, as though they're not sure if they are allowed to or have the capacity to enter this space. And Hecatae, you would notice that some of the other attendees have also noticed Zuìhuo, and there's a lot of like very dirty looks being like shot in this person's direction, a lot of whispering, some like upset expressions, and they have this heavy energy around them, this other entity hanging around them that they don't seem aware of. Like, they're not looking around as though they're noticing this other presence, but it is hanging over them, and they don't notice you approach until you're basically like right there, because their eyes are darting all around.
I think Hecatae uses a little spell to kind of make almost like a wall of silence between the funeral and where you're standing, and they look at you. Are you okay? I can see a lot of those looks. I can't really do much about it, but at least the muttering, we can kind of do away with that, because that seems really rude.
Oh, thanks. That's very nice of you, but honestly, I deserve it. I'm the reason why, well, you know, this had to happen today.
Well, I mean, to be fair, death kind of comes for us all, especially, you know, down here in the lowers, can't really afford to always be resurrected. You see them kind of put a hand on the back of their neck and massage it until it like turns bright red. It's clear that they feel a certain level of guilt, maybe, saying this to you. Mm-hmm. You know, we can't control these things normally, and I hear you saying that you deserve it. Are you sure? You don't seem like a villain.
Yeah, well, villains don't always look like what we think they look like in the pulp. Sometimes they just look like you and me. People doing their best, but fucking up no matter what, right?
Hey, from one fuck up to another, that doesn't count you out. It sounds like maybe you have something to learn instead of something to rue.
Huh.
Zuìhuo, as Hecatae is like sort of extending a gesture of kindness to you, I think you feel movement, as if something is moving from behind you and in front of you. And you see now looming behind Hecatae is that same shadowy figure of Yùn, looking down on you. Their shadowy blood, like, dripping down onto Hecatae's hair, was just, like, sort of dissipating into nothingness.
And I think Zuìhuo had something in their hand, a coin that they've been rubbing this whole time. Their lucky coin. They drop it. And they startle, and they quickly get down onto their knees, and they pick it back up. Sorry, I shouldn't have come here. And it literally looks like, because this literally just happened, like Ta has seen a ghost. Their eyes were not on you, they were like past you and behind you.
Hecatae closes their eyes for a second, and you see them cock their head to the side, almost like glitchy. And they open their eyes once more pretty wide. Hey, can you just give us a moment, please? I'm trying to get to know your friend, I think.
Wait, you can sense her?
Yeah, I can feel, I have arcane abilities that let me kind of sense magical things, and I saw where your eyes were, and I wish I was that tall. So, yeah, they're behind me?
Yeah. They're angry, I think. Malevolent, maybe. Can you help me?
I mean, usually it's, I'm more of the dealing with them when they're dead kind of thing, but I definitely know a lot of people.
Hecatae, as you are talking, you start to feel a vision coming on.
So, you know how, I'm being, like, really understanding of your weird thing that you've got going on? If I can ask you to... You see them start to shiver really, really badly, and they kind of reach out and stable themselves. Yeah. I'm gonna need just a second. Just please don't leave, no matter how weird. And you see them bowl over, and when they snap up, their hair is wild. Like, all of that beautiful kind of coiffure that they had before is gone. Their hair is all over their face. And you see them, it looks like you're watching someone glitch out live. There's all these kind of auras and hazes around them, and their body is kind of snapping adroitly in different directions. You can see their face peeking through their hair, and it looks like they are terrified at one point, euphoric and elated in another point, scared in another point. And they start to speak in a very low voice, kind of intoning.
Yùn Foxhall. Sonra. Others. So many others taken. But those two. Still nearby. Still here. Still free. The others not free. Chains. Bound. Erzan. His name is Erzan.
What in the hells was that?
Yeah, I have a little.
The things that you were seeing flashes of people dying, people being like ritually killed. And in every case, you see like dark magic being done upon their foreheads. You see like spirits being drawn out of them as they perish. It's like their spirits, rather than passing on to the afterlife, rather than leaving this plane and going on to the gloaming, the place where spirits normally go when someone dies, they are not being allowed to leave. It seems as though they are being forced to stay here and influenced for some dark purpose. And you see that it's as though like the methods of killing are becoming almost more refined with time, as if there are, through trial and error, someone is figuring out how to make this ceremony work better. And I will even say, for free, you get the impression that the reason, and I don't know if you share this, but you think the reason that Zanra and Yujin are still here might be because their ceremonies were not performed properly. Erzan, he has a connection to Zanra like Zuìhuo has to Yujin, and wherever he is, somewhere out there, both of these people have a need to help their loved ones and a need to help themselves in the process. And that's kind of what you experience as you are speaking all of this, and you find yourself like zipping back into this moment.
Hecatae waves a hand in the direction of the rest of the party, and takes your hand in the other and escorts you outside. No big deal. Yeah, just a little hiccup. It's just something that happens sometimes. And as they close the door behind them, they say, "Hey, so you've lost someone. Did you see them?"
Yes, I did. Their body is in that casket, but their spirit was a...
They take your other hand and give you kind of a hard look, but with softness in the eyes. "I don't think we're dealing with malevolence. I think we're dealing with someone who really wants justice. Is that the symbol?" They turn around and kind of face you at the tall, skinny, dark gray, very spooky-looking house that sits right next to the funeral home. There is a wall of ivy kind of up the side of it, and the ivy starts to shift and move, and it turns into the shape that they saw in their mind. "Is that what was on them when they died?"
I don't know. I was the one that found their body, and I was just so... Maybe? I wasn't exactly looking for a symbol, though, when it happened.
Okay, no, of course, that wouldn't have been the first thing on your mind. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'll do my very best to make sure that the person who did this pays. There are other people that are in danger. It's not just you and your friend. There's someone named, Erzan, who needs to be told about this. Might have already lost someone.
Wait, Erzan?
Yeah!
Elf,
and she points
druid,
up to the... She points up to the ivy again, and it turns into Erzan's face.
Hey, I know him. I know that guy. He's like a groundskeeper person, like for hire or something, at some of the casinos.
At a casino? Oh, God.
Yeah.
I've never been to one of those, but they sound like nefarious places.
They really are. I wouldn't go if you haven't already. Terrible place to spend your time. I'm constantly in one.
You know what? Do you have a sending stone? I'd like to maybe reconvene after I consult with a friend.
Sure. Yeah. Can I borrow one from you?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. You see them kind of hustle up the front steps of their house. The door makes an ungodly creak, like a kind of creak.
It's a really nice place. And you live here all by yourself?
Oh yeah, I do now. My parents went to the gloaming and then the great beyond, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, hold on. And they pop inside real quick, and they come out with a little treat, like a little croissant. Mm-hmm. You look like maybe, I know you don't want to go in there, you don't want to like be with those people, but you should still part ways with something, some sustenance. And here, you can use this. Just keep it. I have a bunch of them.
Really? Thanks so much. I had a sending stone, but I lost it.
Yeah.
Well, in a gamble. I didn't physically lose it. Well, technically, yes. Someone took it from me.
Were you gambling to get a second one?
Well, I was mostly gambling to pay rent. And then I got kicked out. So now I live with like 11 other people.
Oh man, I hope they're nice. I live with Blix and this situation. And they gesture at the ivy again.
As the pair of you are kind of bonding, we're going to leave this memory and head back to the moment as you all are heading down the stairs. You feel that connection. You feel like he intends to take you to wherever his boss is and then torture and kill all of you. The question is, do you try and stop him now, or do you try and stop him once you're already there?
I feel like in this hallway, away from other prying eyes, I feel like there's pretty good sound insulation here. This might be a good place to try and take care of our friend, because I feel like there's going to be more guards, there's going to be more security further down the line, so this seems like maybe a good middle ground where we can just do what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
I would like to start walking next to Zuìhuo, and then I stand up and I kind of go, oh no, the shrimp, it's moving through, and I'm gonna kind of stop. But as I stop, I'm gonna use my bound hands to brush up against Zuìhuo and cast Healing Hands on Ta. That's 13 with hope. Nice. Which is, I think, exactly what I need to roll. Yeah. Spellcast 13. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. So, on a success, mark. I'm going to mark a stress to heal the target for 2 hit points or 2 stress, whichever you prefer.
Oh, 2 hit points. That's perfect. I'm all the way down to 0 now. Perfect.
Okay, great. And then after I do that, I want to basically just kind of like bend over and put my hands on my knees and just breathe really heavily and let everyone else get in front of me, and then I'm going to be basically blocking Synapse as he continues down the steps.
Okay.
Give everyone a chance to like prepare themselves.
Those of you who are sort of reaching the bottom of the stairs, you see that there is another hall here, sort of like a long corridor with doors on either side. You can see that there are, in fact, more security, although these security seem to be rather oddly dressed. You can see in front of it several different doors. 2 in particular have the strange security in front of them. One of them has like one door, you see just like a regular old security guard who's standing there looking very uneasy. The other 2 doors that you can see, and there I should say that there are a series of doors. It's just that 3 of them have guards. The other 2 doors that are guarded, these guards are like heavily clothed, like heavily cloaked. They're wearing like trench coats with the sides pulled up. They're wearing like hats. They're sort of like hunched over and sort of like they seem to be just sort of looming. There's a real foreboding about these people, and you can't really see much of their features, although any of you with good dark vision, because it is relatively dim, we've established in this area, you could see maybe what looks like almost smoke coming off of them, and there are 4 of them standing in addition to the other more normal security guard. 2 of them in front of one door, 2 of them from another door, and then the security guard in front of a third door, and then there are just more doors along the sides that presumably lead to less secure rooms. As everybody gets in front and the rest of you see that, Synapse sort of like stops before hitting you and it gives you a little nudge, says,
Oh, please, do not do that here.
I'm sorry,
do
it's
not
just
do that here.
material plain food sometimes messes with my stomach a little bit. I'm not used to eating things. These shrimps live the full life is the problem. Anytime that I eat something with fulfillment.
Not on the stairs. Do it in the corner, please.
it's like trying to nudge you down.
I don't know which end it's coming out.
Because you're already bending over, I'm going to say he's strong enough to just give you a mighty shove and send you down the stairs.
As all of this happens, can I disappear into the shadows?
Ooh, okay, yes. What does that look like? Do you just straight up fade?
Yeah, I think Ozrik is like busying himself with this guy, and they're going back and forth, and he's trying to like push him into the right direction. And Hecatae just like waits until there's like a ton of shadow from his shadow Ozrik's shadow and then the dimness of this area, and just like steps back into it and is
Awesome.
just gone. I'm gonna stay in this area, but I'm going to be concealed while doing so.
We'll say that as you do this, your own shadow sort of jumps over you and sort of covers you and blocks and obscures you as you hide. So go ahead and roll to hide.
I got a 24 with fear.
Okay. Beautiful. So as you hide in these shadows, you feel that presence that when you sensed around Zuìhuo and when you eventually met Erzan, that same sort of like presence of spirit energy here. And you sense that coming from these individuals in the hallway, the 4 mysterious individuals. But as you sense this, they become aware of you. Like as you reach out and touch that and you sort of hide, you feel that they have now become aware that there's something or someone here that has perceived them in a way that they would prefer not to be. You see like all 4 of them turn as one and face in the direction of you all. They have not yet acted, but they all just turn, and the situation immediately starts to grow more tense. Erzan and Ozrik and Zuìhuo, are you all doing anything as Hecatae disappears?
I would like to immediately, as I see Hecatae kind of fold into the shadows, I would like to activate a beast form. I would like to shift into a spider. And start climbing up along the walls.
Okay. How big is this? Is it just like a normal size spider?
It's a normal size spider. I'm hoping to disappear and stay hidden and start to move away. Like, hopefully, my hope is that the shackles are no longer on me and they drop to the ground, and then I can start to crawl up the wall and up onto the ceiling is what my aim is.
Okay, you immediately do that. As you do that, Synapse whirls around and immediately starts to extrude more nerves, not seeing you, but recognizing that he has just lost contact with somebody, is preparing to attack. You can see these nerves sliding out of his fingers like hardening into claws, and it looks like he's preparing to just straight up jump your friends. Rick and Zuìhuo, do you do anything as this happens? Because it's about to kick off.
Yeah, I want to try something. Point of clarification first, Jeremy. Did we drop our weapons up at the top of the steps?
Yes.
Okay.
He confiscated all of your weapons.
Great. I have an ability as a divine wielder called Spirit Weapon, which is when you have a melee weapon equipped, it can fly from your hand to strike at an enemy in close range. Would you let it fly from this enemy's hand back into my hand?
You know what? Yes.
Cool.
I will let it, because what he essentially did was he extruded like a bag.
Mm-hmm.
He created a bag of nerves and dumped your stuff in it.
Okay, great.
And has been like bringing it down. I will say that it is able to fly out of that bag and slam into him. This is supposed to be towards an opponent, right? I will let it, you can make an attack roll if there's an attack roll associated with it on him. No matter what, it's coming to your hand.
Awesome.
But it's a question of whether it also hits him on the way.
Sick. Yeah, I'll make an attack roll.
Is this weapon bladed?
Yeah, I have my tower shield, which is my briefcase, and then I have a hallowed axe, which is inside of the briefcase currently.
Amazing. If, no matter what the roll to hit is, Jeremy, would it make a logical sense for this axe to break open the bag because of its bladed head moving through it and cause the rest of the weapons to spill out?
I suppose it would. I do suppose it would.
Great. Lovely.
All right.
So yes, the bag bursts as this axe comes sliding out. Does it slice Synapse as it flies towards you?
Unfortunately, it's just a 14 with fear, so I don't think it does.
Okay, so Synapse, feeling that burst, leaps out of the way, like feeling his own nerves shredded by this thing, jerks out of the way as it flies over, lands in your bound hands. As you're I'm gonna say you're lying at the bottom of the stairs because you were fully pushed over.
Are we still bound? Like, none of this distraction caused the bindings to like loosen from us or drop or anything like that?
The only one of you who is not bound is Erzan, who has completely dropped his bounds. Hecatae is obviously loose enough that they could probably squeeze out of them or find a way to squeeze out of them. The rest of you are very tightly bound.
Oh, I already squeezed out when I left.
Oh, did you? Well, okay. Then I will say that Synapse started getting aggressive before that, even earlier. So he's two of you are out, but Synapse is coming hard. That's a bad way to say that. That's a bad way to say that.
I mean, he's got a lot of very sensitive nerve endings, so yeah, he probably is.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's fair.
gets very embarrassed and decides to kill you all. You've seen him at his most vulnerable.
A double-edged sword being that sensitive.
I'm gonna try to use the chaos to roll and hide. I've been noticing this whole time Synapse being extremely perceptive because of the nerve endings. Seems like the nerve endings like let him know exactly where we are if they're connected to us. So I'm going to, because my hands are bound, but it's forming like kind of a T, right? Like the binding and then the long like bottom of the T is like snaking back toward him. I'm gonna duck and roll, try to get behind him up on the stairs. As I do, I'm gonna try to grab and touch the nerve endings as much and as uncomfortably as possible. I'm licking it, I'm biting it, I'm squeezing it, I'm like I'm trying to overstimulate this guy.
Oh god, the whole man is made entirely of rotten tooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this is going to be an attack roll. This is an unarmed strike from you. Okay. This is not going to be against Synapse's normal difficulty. I'm going to say that the difficulty, because these are essentially just exposed nerves, I'm going to say that the difficulty for this is only 12. So you are very likely to hit it, but you never know.
What ability am I using for this?
This is going to be an unarmed strike, so this is an unarmed attack. 2d12s, essentially.
Just 2d12. Okay, cool. Can I use street smarts as an experience? I feel like I get into like a lot of street scraps and I'm biting and clawing and kicking and scratching and hair pulling.
I will let you take a stress. And in fact, here's what I will say. I will say, not only will I let you take a stress, if everyone is willing to, I will let everyone take a stress and let this act as a critical hit. If everyone is willing to take a stress, I will let this act as a critical hit.
Absolutely.
100% worth it. Okay.
Done and done.
Okay. Just roll to see whether it's with hope or fear.
I got a crit on that, a 12 and a 12.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, well, I guess it's just a crit. Normally you don't crit with hope or fear. Because I was handing you a crit, I was going to be like, which way does this lean? Because it's just a crit, narrate for me what it looks like as you grab onto Synapse's like bag of nerves and just start tearing and biting and ripping at them.
Yes, I'm just like feral right now, and I grab onto the nerves almost like it's a web, like a spinneret, and I'm like spinning and biting and clawing and gnashing and slobbering all over it. And because of I would like to call it like a double crit, because I crit on the dice and we're doing like a crit with our group, I would love this to cause him to drop all of his bindings on all of us, like kind of in like gross, like kind of like reflexively. And for us, if we can, to get into all of us the chance to position ourselves into a good place. So like kind of get him by surprise, and we get to like grab the high ground physically because of it.
100%. That is exactly what happens. He lets out like you see like his whole body seize up, and he collapses and slides down the stairs, sort of like twitching uncontrollably, like an insect almost. I'm going to say that normally when you crit, it is you take the full amount of damage and then roll again. Because you essentially double crit, I'm just going to say you do a full 8 points of damage plus your 4 for finesse. So you do a full 12 points of damage to him as you are tearing into all of this stuff, and he's just collapsing to the ground. That is a beautiful move. I'm going to say he's not going to be able to move properly for a while, which means that you really only have to deal with these guards now. I'm going to jump in and say that the guards, seeing this, are going to attack. This was a big enough move that I think it's time for them to get involved. So the first one is going to launch down there towards Zuìhuo and is going to jump at you. And as I will say also, as you were tearing at this, you're getting like all of these moments and flashes of your own memories. Like as you were tearing at the nerves, every single bite you have is like another flash of the memories, and you keep seeing that symbol pop up again and again and again more and more clearly. And before you're able to like fully decipher exactly what it is, one of these things jumps at you, is going to make an attack, and your evasion is 15. It does not hit you.
Incredible.
It like launches towards you, completely misses, but it is going to, I am going to spend a fear as it attempts to curse you. Yes. And
where did you get fear? Who gave you fear?
I get fear every single time you guys roll with fear. So I'm going to spend one of those, and it's going to like lean toward, as it launches towards you, smoke now fully trailing it. You see like these burning eyes from under this hat. These sort of glowing eyes that are glowing with like malevolence, and this, it almost looks like formless. Like you can't even really make out features underneath this hat, and it jumps forward and is going to like put its hand on your head, and you feel like this dark purplish burn on your head, and it is going to curse you. The other ones are going to go for Rick. One of them, I believe, does actually hit you, Rick.
Yeah, my evasion's pretty low.
What is your evasion?
It's just 6.
Oh, both of them hit you. Wow. Look at that. So
I'm here to be hit, friends. Hello.
Oh,
You see them like sort of reaching into themselves and pulling out like these shadowy bones and other body parts that they begin trying to stab you with. And well, by trying, they successfully stab you with them. The first one is going to do 22 points of physical damage.
Okay, wow. So that's okay, that's the major damage category. Interesting.
You can spend armor to reduce that.
So if I spend 22 minus 12 puts it to 10, which gets it into the minor damage category, which means if it's in the minor damage category, then I can use my thick skin ability. I'm going to roll a d6. If it's 5 or higher, I don't take any damage.
Okay.
That's a 5.
Okay, the first one deals no damage to you. It tears through your like armor, but you're able to like I'll say that you're able to like get your briefcase up as it slides down the steps. You're able to throw it up in front of you, and it just stabs into the briefcase and cuts into it deeply, but does not manage to harm you.
You see my skin starts to thicken with like the carapace of a shrimp because I've eaten so much of it. And this is what my wife was worried about.
You're shrimping out.
The second one, however, gets 21 damage.
Ooh, okay. I'll just take that. That's in the major damage category. I take 2 points of damage.
Okay, you take 2 points as this one cuts into you. The last one is also going to go for Hecatae because you made a connection with them, but it's rolling with disadvantage because it cannot currently see you. It can only sense you. That is going to be a 12, I believe, to hit. Does a 12 hit you?
A 12 does hit me. My evasion's a 10.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and use my I am your shield ability. I will barrel roll over there holding my briefcase, and I will rise up and block that hit.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick! Oh
All
my
right.
gosh!
Yes, our tank.
wow.
Incredible.
No worries, Heck. You're still paying off the mortgage on your funeral home.
Does anybody else want to do anything?
I would love to. I am currently in a spider form. When the nerve endings that were shackling us dropped, are they still on the ground where they dropped, or
Yes.
have they been? Okay. And I'm assuming they're connected to synapse.
Mentally, yes, but not physically.
Not
You
physically.
can still feel them.
I'd like to try to bite them.
Absolutely.
In my spider form, I have venomous bite. When I hit with a melee attack, the target, if I succeed, becomes temporarily envenomated.
Ooh. Okay. Go ahead.
Great. And it looks like it is a finesse roll against him. And I'm using the stats of the spider. So it looks like it's +1 to finesse. But I'd like to also use my experience as I'm coming for him for revenge. That is with fear, a total of 19.
Oh,
Nice.
okay, yes. You absolutely bite into them and start envenomating them. What are the conditions for envenomation?
Okay, well,
What does it do?
First, he is going to take 1d6 +1 damage. And I rolled a 6, so total 7 damage.
Okay.
And the envenomated creature takes 1d10 physical direct damage each time they act.
Okay. Wow. Is there a way to end that condition, or is it just good luck? This is your life now.
I don't know. It says this condition cannot stack. Some move. I will research this, but I don't know where.
Well, for right now, he's not doing anything. He's just as you bite, he absolutely does feel that, and he does take damage from that. So your move absolutely is effective. I'm going to say because you envenomated his nerves, and he still has that connection, he is under the effects of that status. So
I love when Tom Hardy gets envenomated.
Yes. Right. Nice. And if I can, I'm gonna try to try to get away from this nerve as much as I can in my small spider form.
yeah, you absolutely you can scurry off into the darkness.
Yeah.
Hecatae or Zuìhuo or Rick, you've been doing a lot. Hecatae or Zuìhuo, do you have anything that you'd like to do?
Yeah, I want to make a spellcast roll against one of these things that's looking at me. I don't like that they're looking at me, and I'm scared they're going to hurt my friends.
Okay.
So I'm going to unleash chaos.
Go right ahead.
That sounds great.
That is an 11 with hope.
Unfortunately, an 11 is not going to hit. However, you do gain a hope.
Okay.
And as you do this, what does it look like as you use Unleash Chaos?
So because it failed, I think Hecatae kind of just like is really trying. I don't think anybody can really see this because they're in the shadows still, but they're trying to kind of like get like a bolt of energy going between their hands. Their hands keep kind of opening and closing to try and like force this energy to come. And it's like these little tendrils of like black shadowy kind of electricity and smoke that keep kind of shorting out as they're trying to like get this going. Come on, Nick, come on. You can do this. You can save the day. Probably. You're good. You can do it. They keep trying to go with it and it's just not working for them.
Blix is like trying to make biscuits on your shoulder in ferret form to hype you up. As you try to like fire this up, one of these like shade creatures looks up at you, even though you're like not visible, looks up at you and says,
Do not get in my way.
I look at him again and I furrow my brow. I have instinct as my spellcasting origin, primal origin. I can spend a stress, I can mark a stress to add +2 to my action roll. If that's a 13, does it hit?
Unfortunately, no.
Damn. She just kind of shudders like they're there like, oh God, Blix, we're going to have to get ready for this. There's a big guy coming at us.
Okay, so Zuìhuo, did you have something that you wanted to do? If not, I'm taking another point.
Yes,
Okay.
I definitely have something I want to do. Do I count? So I was biting and gnawing at these restraints in service of then, once getting free, having tried to have hidden behind Synapse, like conceal my presence behind him while all of this was happening in order to do something else. Have I successfully hidden behind him? Like, is he unaware of where I am? Well,
Synapse has no idea where anyone is right now.
So
I'll be
I
honest.
count as hidden. For the
Yeah,
purpose
to
of
him.
this next thing. Okay, cool.
Yes.
I would love to do what every rogue wants to do, which is to sneak attack the hell out of this guy
Yeah.
while he's on the stairs.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Okay.
I snatch up these 2 daggers that have fallen out from this like big like nerve silk pouch, basically. One of them is slightly longer than the other, and that one they hold in their dominant hand, their left hand, in a kind of like backhand grip. And we see that these daggers are easily the nicest things that Zuìhuo owns. They look quite old, but very, very well taken care of. And just like 1-2, gonna go for the primary and then the offhand, directly into both of his eyes as they're like just plunging him down. I believe that is a finesse roll, I think, for the daggers.
Yes.
Okay, I would also like to add street smarts, as I do a lot of street fighting, and technically, does this have advantage? Because he can't see me.
Oh, yeah. No,
Okay.
100%. This absolutely has advantage. But yeah, he is fully vulnerable right now. All attacks against him have advantage.
That is a 25 with fear. Does that hit?
Yeah, that'll hit.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll super hit.
Then I'm going to spend 3 hope to invoke Rogue's Hope, which means I add a 3d6 to all of my damage, my sneak attack until the end of the
Okay.
turn.
Good.
So that is an 18 plus 13 damage total.
31?
Yep. 31.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. It absolutely busts past his major. Does not hit his severe.
Okay.
But he has been taking a lot of damage. So that's going to be 2 points of damage to him that you're dealing into his eyes.
Yeah.
So as
Ooh,
they go straight in, immediately as you do that, you see like nerves start to wind their ways up the daggers towards your hands. What did you roll with hope or with stress?
With fear.
Okay. You see as you burst these eyes, the nerves in them start to flow up and try and like embed themselves into your fists. This is going to be, I'm going to mark a stress. I'm going to mark another stress. Screw it. I'm going to mark another stress and make this attack automatically hit. So These snake up your hands, pierce into your flesh, and you can once again feel Synapse's presence in your mind. What happens is, once again, you're transported, but not to a room where, like, not to the same memories you had, but to I think to Eugen's room. But instead of Eugen, it is now you sitting in the chair, and you see what appears to be Eugen standing in front of you with brass knuckles. And you are tied to this chair, and Eugen starts slamming into you, like punching you, beating you, and you can barely even tell what she's yelling, but she's screaming something as she's slamming into you. Go ahead and roll me a sense roll as this is happening.
Sense. Got it.
Yes.
Can I? Oh, God. I don't know if any of my experiences apply. Right place, right time? Does that make sense? No. Okay.
This is not, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, none of them are going to apply.
Wrong place.
Why do I keep rolling with fear? That's a 16 with fear.
You take, as these are, like, you can feel your face, like, deforming. She is changing your face with these hits. And she grabs you, I think, in the side of your head with one hand and just starts pounding into the other side of your head, trying to, like, crush it in so it matches her own. Except the face of Eugen that you're seeing looks whole. And weirdly, as much as she's shouting, it doesn't even look like her mouth is moving. It almost sounds like her voice is muffled. And honestly, the voice doesn't even sound like her. You take 21 points of physical damage, which I think translates to 3 HP for you.
Wow. Yes, am I allowed to mark armor on this one, or does it bypass armor?
In this particular case, I'm going to say it bypasses armor.
Okay, sounds good.
I think because you were cursed, actually, the attacks automatically bypass armor.
Oh, jeez, okay.
You hear this voice yelling at you. I want to ask you, what if you had yourself tied to a chair right now? What are the things, and you could punish yourself for what you did to Eugen, what would you say to yourself?
The words are reiterating Zuìhuo's deepest fear. They know this. This isn't a surprise to them, but Eugen would never say this out loud. They weren't this kind of person. But in this vision, in this hallucination, whatever this thing is that they're going through, Eugen's mouth, not mouth, is moving, not moving, and saying, "This is all your fault. It should have been you. You did this to me. I always believed in you. I trusted you, and you did this to me. You're everything that they say you are. You're not a friend. You're a curse."
As you hear them yell that, with your 16 on sense, you realize that the voice yelling at you is in fact not Eugen's voice. It is your voice. This face that is looking down at you, that is unmoving, is a mask. Eugen is not here. This is you doing this to yourself. As the last swing comes down, knocks you back into this moment, into the real world. I'm going to take another action point as you have at the end of your turn. I'm going to have these shades attack again. One is going to attack Hecatae. This time they get a 21 to hit, which I know will hit, but it is going to be 23. So it would be good to roll an armor slot.
Yeah, 23, and then I spent 3, so now it's a 20, which is major.
It jumps at you, and again you hear, like, almost roaring.
"Stay out of my way!"
And starts slashing into you, like with shadowy claws. What's interesting is as this thing is slashing at you, you start to see a face that looks humanoid. It looks like a halfling is slashing at you. You see the face of like a halfling. You see glowing on their forehead this symbol.
Oh.
And they are slashing into you, screaming, "Stay out of my way!" And that is going to be that one's turn. The other ones are going to quickly attack. One's going to attack Rick again. Rick, this one does hit you. You can let me know. 26 damage. How much do you want to reduce that by?
26. Ooh, I'm definitely going to take an armor to reduce that so it's not severe. So that 26 minus 6. Or no, yeah, 26. So I put it to 20, so I'm just going to mark 2.
Hecatae, the next one that attacks you, just looking at it is actually going to miss you. And then there's going to be one more that attacks Zuìhuo. And Zuìhuo, that one misses you too. Oh, so They are still slashing at you all, and now
gosh.
all of them are screaming,
Stay out of my way! Stay out of my way!
in a voice that does not seem to match the physicality of any of these beings. But all four of them are just ripping into you guys. What do you guys want to do?
Zuìhuo is losing their cool at this moment. They have had so many visions, y'all. They have had like a lot of visions today. It's been a really stressful day. They just had like a major personal emotional breakthrough while they were stabbing the eyes out of this person. They're just a little guy. They don't do this. They're not a fighter. They're a survivor. They're not a hero. And the stress is getting to them. And as these shades are screaming, like, get out of my way, get out of my way, they raise their hands up, like with the daggers in them still, like out of the eye sockets. And they scream, they roar, they bellow at the absolute top of their lungs. You get out of our way! And they're gonna just like kind of go absolutely berserk and just they don't give a fuck about the stress. They don't care about anything right now. They're just gonna try to like stab this guy in the face, like underneath them as many times as they can.
Okay, and this is Synapse specifically you're going after?
Yes, they're
okay,
stabbing
you have
them.
advantage.
Okay.
You have advantage. Yeah, you can help, honestly. Yeah, I'll let you help. Roll a d6, add a d6 to that. You can, I think you take you can either, you can spend a hope to do that, Hecatae.
I actually give 1d8 for my help move.
Oh!
Amazing.
Hopewell. It's a fitting name.
Well.
Nice.
You're gonna
Okay.
add a 7.
A 7.
Wow. That's so good.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so that is a plus 11 so far. Can I also invoke my I'm just a little guy for this? Because they're so overwhelmed that is like
Yeah.
what's channeling through them right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's
I'll
roll
slide
this.
2 prayer dice that way as well.
Wow.
What does that add to?
Wow.
Just +2.
Just +2. So that is a 32 to hit with fear. Again, I'm never rolling
Wow.
with hope. With
Actually, I can change that for you. I can swap the values of your duality dice.
Wow.
God, yes, please. So that's with hope. That's with
This is
hope.
the moment.
32.
You can hope.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a good one.
Okay. So his major threshold is 18, which means that this is going to do 2 damage. That is exactly how much health he had left. Wow. Zuìhuo, tell me what it looks like as just a little guy, perhaps not so much of a little guy anymore, straight up murder Synapse as he lies helplessly on the ground.
It's like he dies between strike number 4 and number 7, but that doesn't sink in until strike 32. Zuìhuo is still going, like just pounding into their face, like down to the neck, down to the chest, shouting and screaming. Like their entire face is splattered with Synapse's blood, their neck, the scruff of their fur, like their modern Hanfu, everything. And then they stop only because they're reaching muscular failure. They're not very strong at all. Their like muscles are burning, and it's like a slow kind of like weak pounding of the daggers down into their abdomen. Stay out of my... And they drop the daggers down. They like clatter against the bloody stairway. They're breathing and panting, more blood than person at this point. And we see like interwoven with the blood streaking their face are tears pouring out of their own eyes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And they're just panting and completely like lost in themselves for a moment.
Guess this guy hit a nerve.
Yes.
I'm going to say, seeing this, everybody can mark a hope. Erzan, these other shade things are still present. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to say that you've been around this place enough to know, and with your connection to plants, you know that you can feel those plants that were in the office, that were in the manager's office. They're nearby, and you could, if you wanted to, tell which door they are behind.
I would like to know.
So if y'all can get out of here and just run past them, you can get to the manager's office and get to wherever Victor Guza is.
Ooh, okay. These other creatures, there's 4 of them, and they've been gathered around in close range. Are they between us and the doors that I'm sensing has the plants are kind of communicating to me?
They are not between you specifically and the doors, but they are between everybody else. At this point, he's kind of having second thoughts, but the other security guard, who'd been looking kind of nervous, had started to run towards you guys, and now seeing what is happening is just like, I don't know if they're paying me enough for this. And it's sort of like backing away, but you think that you could get to that completely unmolested. The rest of your companions would potentially take attacks if they were to run away.
Ooh. I am at a crossroads because I can feel those whispers from the plants, and I can locate the door that I need to go through, but I'm almost frozen in this moment as I see Zuìhuo's face, blood and tears, and eliminating this enemy, but also still being in danger from these others that are surrounding them. And I did nothing once, and stood by watching someone that I cared about get murdered in front of me, devoured. And so here's, I think, what I do in light of this. I pop out of my beast form, and I am going to use a spell. I'm going to conjure Towering Stalk. I can conjure a thick, twisting stalk within close range that can easily be climbed. I'm going to try to accomplish a couple things. I'm going to use this Towering Stalk to create almost a bridge so that my companions can climb over and towards the door. But at the same time, when I conjure it, I can also mark a stress to use it as an attack. So I'm placing it right on those 4 others. I get to make a spellcast roll against any enemy or group of enemies within close range of this. It erupts beneath any of them that I'm successful against, lifting them into the air. And what I'd like is for it to lift them up and smash them up against the ceiling, as then the vines kind of retract a little bit to create this bridge. And then they fall down to the ground.
Sick.
So I'm going to make I guess I make a spellcast roll against any enemy or group of enemies within close range.
Yeah, make it against the group. We're going to count them as just a group, so
Nice.
1 roll.
And I would love to use I have so many. I'm coming for you for revenge, Nature's Keeper, because I'm conjuring natures to help me weed out this, what I perceive as a corruption.
I will also say that one thing that could apply that I don't think you've used yet, but it does seem to be because you are now reckoning with your own past choices, you could use Healer.
I would, yeah.
Oh.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like all of these are swimming around. And do they stack these experiences? Can I use more than one if it applies, or is it just one at a time?
For our purposes, I think this is cool, so I'm going to let them stack. Regardless of whether that is the official rule. We're saying they're stacking right now.
Okay.
In this moment, they stack.
Do I see Erzan gathering his power?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I popped out of the spider form, so you see me
cool, yeah.
there. Channeling that energy.
Knowing that that justice is like close, so close you can almost taste it, and having kind of shared that vision of your loss, I'd like to also help if I can do a help action here.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Erzan and Hecatae, where do you think you two met?
I feel like knowing where Erzan works, Hecatae would just kind of wait outside for you. Kind of just standing there, looking at the plants, taking in your handiwork, and just wait for you to come outside at the end of the day.
And I think the moment that I do come outside, I'm so used to being invisible that I'm immediately struck by someone who notices me. And it stops me in my tracks. And I look at you, and I sustain eye contact, and I approach you. Can I help you?
Yeah, Erzan, right? I don't want to assume.
You are correct. Yes, do you know me?
I do. Hecatae Hopewell. Hello. Nice to meet you. They produce a little business card. It's black and it has kind of antique gold writing on it. This is Hecatae Hopewell Funeral Parlor. I'm really sorry for your loss. Before you think I'm trying to sell you any caskets or magical funereal devices, I'm not. I had a vision. That's probably weird to say, but it seems like you might need my help. Someone hurt someone close to you.
How do you know this?
I have a little connection with the afterlife and, the world of death, etc., etc. I'm not bragging. It's just, my thing.
I think as soon as you're explaining that, I move uncomfortably close and I put my hands on your shoulders and I look right into your eyes, and you see that the kind of pre-dawn burst in my eyes, and do you know her name?
Yes. Oh, I'm so bad with names. She starts to kind of like look with this very serious face. She kind of leans in. Sonra.
As soon as I hear her name, my hands that are on your shoulders wrap around you and I melt into your arms.
Oh,
And
they're there.
She was taken from me and I need justice.
You deserve justice. I think as Hecatae kind of parts, she still holds on to your hands and they look up at you. You can feel the coolness of Blix kind of cuddling up to your neck. We're going to help you get that. I hate to say this because it's probably only going to add to the rage that's inside of you, but it feels like this was a ritual that someone's been doing to multiple people. There is a rapscallion, for lack of a better word, named Zuìhuo, and they also lost someone really, really close to them. So, in the same way, would you want to maybe work with us to try and, I don't know that she can be brought back, but we can at least lay her to rest properly, if not?
Yes. Take me to your friend.
Oh, okay. Great.
And as you sense, like, Erzan, you feel as having a helping hand in this situation for, like, the first time. Somebody actually caring and noticing you and seeing your pain and connecting with it. Do you carry any of the cuttings from the plant with you on a day-to-day?
Every moment I have a cutting of the plant that was used to consume someone who I considered my mother.
You hear this, and I think, Hecatae, you hear it faintly as well with the connection that you have with him. Almost like it's a shadowy whisper for you. You hear, once again, "It's not your fault. Don't let it go to waste."
I think flashing into this scene, into this moment in present day, that's what Hecatae whispers to you. And you feel that same coolness, that cool touch that they have as a hand on your shoulder to give you that support.
I feel myself grow bigger than I am, and chills shoot up my spine as my focus, like daggers, shoots towards these creatures, and I conjure this towering stock. Wow. With hope, that is 31.
Woo!
Okay.
Oh, juicy.
Get 'em!
Yeah, that'll do
Juicy
it.
stuff.
That'll absolutely do it.
Wow.
100%. This thing, as it bursts out, all four of these shades are thrown into the ceiling, where you see, like, they almost partly dissipate for a moment. I'm not even gonna have you mark damage. You slam them into the ceiling with enough force to dissipate their bodies, so that their clothing just falls to the ground empty. And this vine proceeds to rocket down the hall, bursting through the door. The one remaining guard just drops to the knees. It drops to his, like, into a full fetal position, and just hides as this thing tears in. The way is completely cleared. You can still feel the energies of these four beings trying to reconstitute themselves, but you have enough time to get down the hall. I think just from the office, you just hear a voice going, "What the hell?" As, like, from inside, as, like, a vine comes bursting in.
I'm going to start running towards it, but I will go to let me see if this ability I'm going to I can do it within close range. I don't have to be in melee range. Zuìhuo, you are really messed up right now. I think,
Yeah, I'm
right?
pretty banged up. Yeah, I assume, Jeremy, this was psychic damage. Like, I don't actually look like my face has been bashed in a little physically.
Yeah,
There's
no,
Freddy
that was entirely...
Kruegerism. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no.
Got it.
I am going to use regeneration. I'm going to spend 3 hope, and I'm going to try to heal you.
Ooh, nice.
Which I do for 4.
Oh my god!
You
back
regain
up to full.
4 hit points.
Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
This these sort of ephemeral vines start to wrap around you, but they move with this sort of this fluid gentleness, and they start to wrap around you, and they're absorbed into your body, and they start to calm you. Whatever physical wounds you have start to close. Whatever mental wounds you have start to calm. and you're healed for 4 hit points.
Damn, that's a powerful salad.
Yum, 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 yum. As the vines sneak up my body, there's a moment where Zuìhuo flinches away because they remind them too much of like the psychic white tendrils from Synapse closing around them. But then they realize it's healing and it's rejuvenating, and they decide to trust you, and they relax into the vines as they sink into their body, and they suddenly feel so much better. The shaking of their hands stills. They're definitely still traumatized. Like, this is an extremely traumatizing day. But they're not so much like in that state of murderous shock anymore. Thanks. I guess our chariot awaits.
Right.
Yeah.
If we have a moment, well, we must get out of here. As I start to sense that these other creatures are trying to kind of take shape again, I'll move towards that office. But I can help us further if we can just take a minute, if we even have that time.
Yeah, I'd love to help get people patched up.
I will say you have enough time, to take a quick minute. And I will say also, Zuìhuo, as that healing washes over you, perhaps for the first time hear in your mind, it's not your fault. Don't let it go to waste.
Was that you? No, that was... Maybe it has been you. But it's also been me this whole time, huh? And they slowly, painfully pick themselves back up onto their feet, blood dripping off of their body. Is this just another day at the office for you two? Gesturing at Hecatae and Rick.
This is pretty bog standard. Yeah.
Pretty much.
As you all are healing and like getting ready, let's have a quick flash to Rick in the gloaming, because we have not. We need to establish very clearly for the audience who has not listened to our series, City of the Black Rose, Herald of Shadows. Rick is not from Mavros. He's not even from this plane of existence.
What's his deal?
He hails from the purgatorial plane known as the Gloaming, where he is an agent of the IRS, the Infernal Residue Service, the agency that is tasked with dealing with all manner of. We'll call them, for our purposes, transplanar crimes. He's previously been dispatched to Mavros to deal with a major issue that he managed to resolve, and now he's kind of been made the official liaison to this plane, and specifically to Mavros, the city. I think, Rick, you are in your office at the stand, or rather, I think you have been given an office. I think you got a minor promotion.
Ring-a-ding-ding! Look at that!
Yes. The office does not have a door yet, but it has 3 walls, and so technically that counts.
That really counts.
Jan stops by and says, hey, Rick, I heard, apparently Jim wants to see you. Apparently something important, something's going on.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's always something with Jim. All right, patch him through.
Okay. And presses a button, and on your desk, on the little speaker, a pair of fangs emerge, waiting for you to impale yourself upon.
Yep, okay. All right, I place my palm there and let this snake just bite me, and then my eyes roll back in my head as I commune with my boss, Jeff, who is, I believe, a snake demon.
Jim hails from the elemental plane of snakes. He is venom-pathic. He can only communicate through venom. So you have to have him bite you in order to speak to him.
I've been innovated.
He can talk to Erzan.
So you hear,
Hey, Ricky, hey.
Jim!
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna mince words here. Things are getting bad in Mavros again.
I mean, hey, it wouldn't be Mavros if things weren't bad, am I right? I got a coffee cup that says that.
Suffering.
So anyway, what's the latest woe?
Yeah, so there's been a rash of deaths, again, typical, but what's weird about these ones is the souls don't seem to be able to move on to the gloaming. We've been getting reports that the souls are actually getting trapped in that plane, not only in that plane, but they seem to be being affected by some sort of transplanar magic. There are suspicions that someone on that plane has made contact with an entity from another world entirely.
Oh, that's a big no-no. That's just like right at the top of the packet. You can't do that.
It's absolutely the biggest of no-nos. I'm faxing this through to you right now. If you look, you should be able to get all the information. And
You can see like papers sliding out of the machine by your desk. Just
Also a
you
snake.
Can see, yeah, exactly. The machine itself is just a very fat snake that's sitting there, very rotund but very short. Just and paper starts sliding out. You can see on it there are images of. You can see Victor Guza is the primary suspect, as well as you see like a list of victims. Among them, like all these images of victims, you do see Eugene and Zanra, and you also see that there is Jim says.
And there's one more thing. It appears that some of the people on that plane, some of the mortals, are already trying to deal with this. In fact, normally we wouldn't flag this up, but in your case, one of them's an old acquaintance.
And you see another paper slide out with Hecate's face smiling uneasily as if it's like picture day. You're not sure where the heck they got this image, but Hecate's got like this kind of like, ha.
Oh, hot diggity dog. A reunion. This is going to be perfect. All right. Yeah, I got to... Okay, what do I have? I got to get some sort of souvenir for him. Maybe... They work at a funeral home? I'll go... I'll pick up some flowers
Why
for
don't
him
you
on
get
the
him?
way.
Why don't you get him a skull bobblehead that talks?
That's really good. Oh, they'd love that. It'd be like, welcome to the funeral home.
Yeah, it's got the real souls of the damned inside.
But they haven't seen... That would be perfect. When people come into... Instead of like a bell for the door, it could say like, welcome to the funeral home. You can't have a funeral without fun.
That's perfect. That's the Rick I know. Anyway, if you don't succeed on this, blah, 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 you're fired, blah, 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 blah. Get to it right now, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna pull my fangs out of your hand.
All right. Enjoy that blood.
I always do. I always do.
Right.
The fangs retract and slide back into your desk. Because of the long-standing relationship now that you have with Hecate, there may even be a one-way portal, or, mostly one-way, but occasionally two-way, portal in Hecate's home.
Yes.
That you're able to just straight there. It's sort of like the lowers-based hub that you can get to.
I think I appear in a coffin in the basement. And I just open the door, and I'm in Hecate's basement.
Yes.
I love it. As you arrive and walk upstairs, you see Hecate with Zuìhuo and Erzan, like, having a meeting, talking about the ins and outs of about this job. That was probably about a week ago that you all have spent trying to get a feel for what's going on here. So as all of you are patching up, that is how Rick got here.
That's right.
Nice.
Now the gang's all here. Wow, this is awful. This is really confirming all my suspicions. Even these shades seem like they're some sort of misplaced spirit. And I gotta say, I don't need to tell you this. This is terrible for the planar topsoil of an area. Like, if these spirits keep gunking up the works, it's just gonna really mess up the whole ecosystem. So we can't have this. We gotta restore the balance, restore the order here. The stakes could not be higher, folks.
Rick, come closer to me. You seem a little bit more on edge and a little bit more talkative than your normal self even is. And I'm gonna reach out and actually I'm gonna activate my clarity of nature, where I can create a space of natural serenity. So as soon as you come closer to me, everything around us starts to calm, and you almost feel like all of us are in this calm grove. You almost see wisps of they look like beetles at first, but then they move. I realize that might stress you out even more, and they start to transform into actual butterflies. And we are all going to clear some stress as we enjoy this moment of clarity. You looked very harried to me, Rick, so I'm going to clear 2 points of stress from you.
That would be huge. I was feeling a little vulnerable, actually.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you 3 points of stress to clear. I'm going to look at Hecate and Zuìhuo, and between the two of you, I'm not sure which one looks a little bit more stressed, but I know Zuìhuo, you had a lot happen to you.
Yes, but I only have 1 stress, actually. So feel free to spend on others.
Okay.
I have 3 stress.
Hecate, I'll give you that other one. So 3 are cleared from Ozrik and 1 from Hecate.
Thank you.
Nice.
Excellent.
And how's everybody looking as far as like HP goes? Because I open up my briefcase and I've got a lot of supplies I've got basically a full first aid kit in here.
I'm actually full up, thanks to Erzan.
Oh, yeah, Erzan, you're really handy with that.
Yeah.
Heck has 2 marked.
2 marked. All right, that's perfect. I'm going to give you a sparing touch, and you can remove 2 hit points.
Yay!
And I might do it to myself as well, because it took some hits
You
there.
look pretty beat up, Rick.
That's okay. Most of those are just from roughhousing with my kids, and then a little bit is from the most recent encounter.
On a scale of 1 to total annihilation of Mavros, where do you think this thing falls?
These seem like pretty small potatoes to me, but
Yeah, it's
clearly
really not.
Small. Wow.
I will let you guys roll, in fact, if you want to get a better sense of how grandiose this could become or could be.
Could have used my spectral investigator experience.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's a 15 with fear for me.
With fear.
So that's a 14 with hope.
Okay.
I'd like to try. Is there something that I can tap into in terms of the natural world, this kind of wispy garden that that sprouts around us during this nature's clarity? I'll see if I can tap into that.
Go ahead.
So that is a total of 12.
I think those of you who got above a 10, which I think is everybody, suspect... Oh, never mind.
I got a 9
Zuìhuo-
with fear. I've only rolled with hope like once or twice.
Wow.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Zuìhuo, you, I think you are just basking in in this moment, just like, wow, I'm surrounded by people who seem
I'm
to
not
genuinely
thinking at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, wow. I think you should have a wow moment. The rest of you, those who got above a 10, you suspect that right now it's probably not something that would threaten the whole city or even threaten a significant portion of the city. Those of you who got, I will say, 13 and above, though, suspect that especially if Hecatae has informed anybody about the idea that these killings have been a process of refining a technique, that there is something ritualistic, and that it is something that is connected to powers off of this plane. This feels like something that, much like a plant, could grow, and like an invasive plant could grow and cause serious damage to Mavros if left unchecked.
Yeah, it seems like the more power that these folks borrow from this entity or whatever, the more likely it is that thing can make a full incursion. And then that's when my office gets really involved. That's when there's a lot of paperwork. So if we can avoid that at all costs, that would be really handy for me, because I'm still trying to get a door on my office, and that would really set things back.
A door?
Understood.
Yeah, no, the office, it doesn't have a door. It's just kind of it's a shed without a door at this point. But I'm trying to get the glasses back ordered is the problem.
Oh, they got your roof?
Yeah, they got the roof in.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's looking
goodness.
great.
That's a great development.
I was picturing this as being inside of the office building, but now apparently there's just a shed that they brought into, possibly in the office,
sad.
like an actual shed that's just sitting in the middle of the office that for a long time had no roof.
Yeah, it used to just rain on Rick all the time.
Incredible.
It's like in a pocket plane in a graveyard. You just see this like weird. Actually, I think it's probably like the gravekeeper's shed, but then like you pass through the threshold and it's my office.
As you all have been having this conversation, kind of absorbed in what you're doing, like healing yourselves and healing each other and growing as individuals, there's sort of like a knock on the wall, as if somebody's like trying to be polite, and you hear,
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but it seems like we may have business together.
and you see the Galapa standing there, no longer wearing his hat, now holding what looks like some sort of like steampunk, diesel punk gun that looks pretty heavy duty, like two-handed rifle type deal. And you can see like runes and magic markings up and down the sides of this thing. As he's standing there, he says,
I don't mean to interrupt, but you there, and points at you, Rick, and says, you have the air of an office worker about you. You smell like bureaucracy, my friend.
Listen, I've I've drinking from a few water coolers in my day.
Haven't we all? Look, I don't need to know everything that you're doing. I just want to be clear. I think I've largely accomplished my goal, although our interests may ultimately align.
Walks forward and says,
Tom Wallaby. I'm with the Mavros Comestibles Research and Investigation Bureau, McRib for short. I was called here. Look, we don't normally do calls like this, but unfortunately, due to the governmental upheaval that's taken place over the last few months, a lot of our funding has been slashed, and so they had to send me in alone. This place has been dealing with some seriously questionable food standards, including, looks this way and that way, I hear they're putting something in the shrimp.
No.
Oh no.
I thought it was just undercooked. You think this is...
No, they're allegedly, well, not so alleged now after I've discovered this.
and he holds up like a bag filled with what you can only assume is some sort of drug paraphernalia.
There's a full-blown drug-dealing operation happening out of here, and a lot of it's been cross-contaminating the food. They're sometimes smuggling out in the food. Did any of you order the special number 9?
No!
Good, because it comes filled with this!
And he holds it up and shakes the bag.
It wouldn't be good, let me tell you.
Do I recognize this drug if it's been circulating on the streets?
Oh yeah, the drug in question is called skips. Skips basically cause your body to start pumping adrenaline into you. It's called skips because you lose time, and also because it puts a pep in your step. You basically become hyper energized, but also your upper functions just shut down, and you are full muscle memory. So this is one of those things where, like, if you're at work and you're like, I can't get through this day, but it's all like just muscle memory, you're not needing to use higher brain functions, you can just do it. And you pop this and you do, and it's almost a euphoric thing. But the more you use it, the more time you start to lose, and the more kind of your grasp on reality starts to weaken, essentially. And people can sometimes engage in entire days of activity that even when they're not on the drug, they have no memory of. So it's a pretty dangerous drug if overused. But I imagine you're familiar with skips. You might have even taken it honestly during gambling binges at various points.
Oh no! Oh, skips? Seriously?
Yeah, just making my stomach skip. I'll tell you that much.
I bring this up because you all just fought some terrible things. I'm sorry, I was in that room.
Points to one of the doors that was not guarded.
Oh, sure.
I didn't want to interfere, but I'm hoping to speak to the owner and proprietor of this establishment, Victor Guza.
Oh, yeah, we're headed to his office right now.
Excellent. Yes, the manager's office. That's not Guza's office. It's the manager's office. But I have it on good authority that through there is a portal that will take us to someplace where we could meet him.
Oh, yes. They got portals in this place? Those are unregistered. They should be really announcing those portals. There should be a registry up front. I should be able to look at the documents for the building and see all of the portals marked clearly. This is a much bigger hassle than I thought. Wallaby, you want to come with us? Here, take my business shard. We can work together on this.
Oh, thank you.
I hand him a jagged obsidian shard with my name written on it.
Very creative, very creative. Allow me to hand you my business bread.
And he holds out a piece of bread that has his name.
His business carb.
Oh! You know what? Take a hope.
Take a hope. Yes. Well
hands
earned.
you his business carb.
Oh my gosh.
Outstanding.
I'm going to do everything I can not to eat this. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad that we're able to connect like this. I was feeling a little in over my head, I'll be honest. Shall we?
Now, let's proceed.
Okay.
One second, Wallaby. Is your organization going to cause a stink if we decide to kill this guy? Because we're going to kill this guy.
Well, under normal circumstances, as an upstanding citizen, I would disagree with such a course of action. But considering what this man is responsible for,
Holds up the bag.
and, frankly, the fact that this has been such a hassle, and you all look like you've been through a lot, I am perfectly happy to look the other way.
Understood.
There you go.
Yeah, it'll keep the blood out of your eyes anyway.
Yeah, just insert your head into your shell, and we'll take care of the rest.
Okay, that's what I do.
He walks down the hall, smiling at you, and holding this gigantic gun, and Stan says,
Ah, yes, Miss Silver.
and you see the person inside, the manager, hear Irene Silver just like backed against the wall, still cowering as this like plant has burst into her office and nothing has happened for like 10 minutes. She's just been like hiding, just like.
Yes, Miss Silver, we were wondering if we could make use of the portal in your office, please. We wanted to speak to your boss.
She says, yeah, right there, and just points, and you can see, like, there is a full-on, like, teleportation circle drawn out on the ground. She says, I'll pull the lever. Just stand on it, I'll pull the lever.
This is a real Mickey Mouse job, I just got to tell you right now. This portal, unmarked, and like, your restraints there, they're totally unregulated. I'm going to be back to talk to you about this.
I didn't install it. It was corporate.
It's not even a circle. It's supposed to be a teleportation circle. This is more of an oval. What are you doing here? Come on. Someone's going to get hurt.
Lots of lacks of professional,ism.
As you all step into the circle, Tom Walby is pulling out reams of forms and handing them to you, Rick, in case you need extras.
Thank you.
And just shaking his head as she pulls the lever, and you guys teleport out of this place and into a very dark room. I mean, perhaps room is not really the right word. You are standing in what appears to be a cavern. It takes a moment for your eyes to adjust, but you are standing in a cavern that, as you look around, looks like it was like cut intentionally. It's not a naturally occurring cavern. This looks like it was humanoid made, and you can see large machinery that looks old, like hundreds of years old. You can see like chains and these massive things that people have created, these towering pieces of machinery here.
Another office with no door.
And as you're standing here, you can also see, like, along the ground, there are, even though it's very, very dark, those of you who have good vision in the dark can see these, like, what looks like almost a root system spreading across the ground, except instead of normal roots, they look dark, almost as if they're made of similar stuff to those shades you saw. And there's like a pulsing energy, a pulsing purple energy coming from them all.
Can I take a look at him?
Absolutely.
My spectral investigator?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same. I'd like to use, I have arcane sense, so can I roll maybe instinct to see if I can, like, comprehend, or maybe knowledge to, like, understand what this is?
Yeah, I was going to say analyze, but if you want to try and connect with them on just a purely magical level and maybe not be able to, like, describe in specific terms, but have an understanding of what they are, yeah, go ahead. You can use instinct.
13 with hope for me.
I will say just with that, these are not originating on this plane. The energy that is happening here is tainted by energy that comes from another plane entirely. You think it may have even come from the gloaming. There's like death energy coming from this.
You see, you really need a permit for this sort of stuff, and I have a strong inkling that there were no permits involved with this. This is bad.
I'm suspecting something. I want to approach this because it's a root system, right? With these like pulsing
yes,
purple
and the
energy.
roots seem to be like extending deeper into this cavern system. This massive. I'm not gonna say massive shaft. My lord, this massive cavern system. We're sticking with that.
Yes. I'd like to see if I can sense something. I mean, I've been a caretaker of this, of the gardens around here, and I've created these plants that they've used in these death parties, and I've seen the purple markings and purple energy. I'm wondering if this is somehow a place where something gets siphoned to.
10 with hope.
10 with hope. Hecate, same thing. You can you get the sense that there is like something otherworldly and something like weirdly familiar. And you can't quite place it, but immediately, as soon as you feel it, it's like bad familiar. Like, oh no. Erzan, what did you can roll instinct for this and kind of get the same intuition, add the same experiences that you wanted to add.
I rolled with fear, and that is a total of 23.
23 with fear. You sense something that you don't know if you've ever consciously sensed before. It's like if you spent your entire life with a sound playing in the background and then the sound stopped. And then you hear the sound again. This sounds incredibly familiar. There is something genuinely plant-like about this, and it is also something that is otherworldly. Whatever this magic is the same magic that was inflicted upon Zanra, and it is deeply corrupted. More deeply than you could possibly fathom. As you feel the depth of this corruption and almost like lose yourself in it, you hear that same voice.
I'm warning you. Walk away now.
And you're the one who hears that as you like sort of delve into this power. But there is something vast, like an ocean of corruption that is spreading further down into this cavern.
I will convey that to the group, and I will share the voice that I heard, the warning.
Okay, listen.
I think going further in where it is warning us against is exactly where we should go.
We gotta shut this thing down.
Yeah, I think
We gotta
we're ding-dang ready to stop being told what to do.
I agree. And I can't let what happened to Yùn happen to anyone else.
I'm going to look at Rix and Zuìhuo. I'm looking at your armor. How banged up do you each look in terms of your armor?
I've taken 3 slots, I got 3 more.
Okay.
I've taken 1 slot, I've got 6 more.
Okay, I'm just taking note of that. You see me scrutinize each of you and kind of clock something in my mind, and I follow along to move forward.
As you all continue to follow these routes, you start to realize that where you are appears to be inside of the Mavrosian plateau itself. Mavros, when it was constructed against a plateau and then built up against it. And long ago, people had built entire mines inside of this, networks of mines to mine, for example, Delphic ore and other things in here. And it appears to be like a decommissioned mine shaft inside of the plateau. As you're all walking, you start to see that symbol, that recurring, that sort of circular, swirly symbol on these walls. And as you see it, especially Hecatae, there's something so familiar about this as you keep seeing it. And then you start to see the phrases written. Praise him, he shall claim all, the umbral prince, written as if it's been carved in this same energy into the rock, glowing at you. And you all, as you get closer and closer to the epicenter of these roots, start to smell iron, blood, and you emerge into a singular cavern where it appears it's almost like an ossuary, like a place where bodies are stored. But these bodies are posed. They are posed as if someone has taken them and posed them in acts of reveling in worship. And in the center of the room, you see, as this root network all converges, all over the walls, first of all over the walls, you see, praise his name, the umbral prince, he comes for us all, his thorns pierce deep, all these different things glowing on the walls, almost as if a raving mad person had drawn this. And in the center of the room, you see that same symbol carved into the ground, and seated in it, rocking back and forth, looking like he has not slept perhaps in weeks, is Victor Guza. You see, he is naked, and he appears to have tattooed his body with that symbol and all sorts of markings, these glowing purple markings, as he's rocking back and forth. And he looks up at you all as you enter, and he says,
He warned me you would come. He could smell you. He longs to taste you, to devour you. You who would stand between him and his goal. Just as he has devoured these others.
And he motions to all of the bodies that you now recognize are the bodies of those who have been slain. All of them with that same marking.
Are Yùn and Zonra's bodies here?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
And I think you understand, as failed attempts, they were not ever brought to be part of the circle.
Right, of course. Yeah, Zuìhuo will definitely ask, pipe up and go, who is this umbral prince guy, and what does he want?
He comes from beyond. He wants to claim the city as his own, to claim it as his birthright. He is of the city and yet not of the city. He has powers that are of the city and yet not of the city. He is Mavros, and Mavros has rejected him, and he comes to reclaim it.
And he looks up at you, Hecatae and Rick, and he says,
He knows you. He warned you to leave, but he knows you.
And as he says this, you see the markings on his body start to ooze. As if, at first it looks like they're oozing a liquid, but then it starts to look almost like fur is growing over his body. And his countenance starts to darken as even though there's very little light in here, it's as though a shadow has been cast over his face, and his face takes on a feral appearance, almost leonine in nature.
The Umbral Prince will have his birthright, and you will not stand against him.
And you hear his voice start to shift again as he rises up, and you see shadowy claws burst from his hands as a shaggy, shadowy mane erupts from his neck. And he drops to all fours with raging, like a maelstrom of shadow, and he is about to launch himself towards you. He is going to attempt to essentially curse all of you and draw your souls out from your forms.
Whoa.
Oh. You are going to have to roll to oppose him. This is going to be a roll. You can add, if you have an experience that you think would add to this, you can, and you can also spend hope, to add, flat numbers, and you can take stress to reroll if you need. But each reroll of stress will, boost, your stress significantly. It's not just, one stress. You'd be taking 3 stress in order to reroll. Erzan, I think with your connection to the natural world, sometimes when something has been hurt, it triggers a fight or flight.
Yes.
This being is existing in permanent fight or flight. Whether by choice or by circumstance, whatever entity is powering Guza here is existing in a permanent state of fight or flight. And it has decided fight. And it is going to try and rend you all asunder for standing in its way.
Okay.
And as it continues to roar towards you, you hear,
I will make an army of shades, an army of shades that will consume this city and subsume it under my rule.
Listen, buddy, you gotta get in line. There's a million malevolent entities trying to take this city, and I'll tell you one thing. This city, it's become my home, and it's got people I care about in it, and I know more than that you have taken people from the people that I care about, and you know what? You are going to be reprimanded to the fullest extent of the law, and the gloaming is coming for your ass, buddy, so just prepare yourself. Sit down and take what's coming to you, all right? The IRS is here, and you are in big trouble.
Go ahead and start rolling. As you all are rolling that, the creature laughs.
Rick, you have no idea. I own you. Your very office is in my master's body.
As the voice, this other voice starts to emerge, and a crown begins to arise out of the head of this being. As, it appears that, and I think for those of you who know him, recognize the voice of Duncan Doulahan, who now hails from the gloaming itself. An agent of the Rose is now trying to subsume Mavros under his rule. Wow. He roars out towards you. You all are going to need to roll. This is as a collective. You need to overcome this. So you need to hit a 50 as a collective on your 2d12 rolls.
And is this a reaction roll, or is this
Yes, this is a reaction roll. This is a reaction roll.
I'm going to utilize a number of abilities. I am going to use quick reactions so I can mark a stress to take advantage on a reaction roll. I am also going to use my Order-Born dedication to foster, restore balance through renewal, deadheading, pruning, corruption as necessary, and foster growth are these sort of values that I have. I'm going to turn my hope die from a D12 to a D20.
Okay, all right.
Ooh,
cool.
Sweet.
Very, very cool.
Hecatae, seeing this shaggy mane come out of this creature, the shadowy kind of Leonin affectation, a chill runs up her spine. She knows exactly who that belongs to. And I think as they try to kind of unleash this kind of countermeasure, I rolled with both my my experience of Reluctant Hero and of my visions, since I have an innate connection to this thing. I got a critical success for a 24. I'm also going to channel my raw power. I am going to put my premonition spell into the vault, and that's going to give me an additional 5, so that's 29.
Okay. Yeah, you recognize this voice, and you feel the pain that is behind it. You recognize the pain and the fear that is behind it, and you, like everyone else here, recognize he is hurting and is trying this is the only way he knows to protect himself. And as you get that understanding, you are able to oppose that feeling. Erzan, as you roll, you have once again that voice. It's not your fault. And that hummingbird that you had summoned, that has traveled with you, sort of leans against you and wraps its wings, and it feels like Zanra wrapping her arms around you in this moment. Tears streaming from her eyes, tears of love. And I think Zuìhuo, you also feel that. You feel like as you're trying to resist this, you feel once again Yujin's hand holding yours, but not grabbing it, trying to show you something. It's like holding you gently and lovingly from all the times she helped heal you. Rick, I think you, as you are resisting this, recognize, look, you've tried to help Duncan. You tried to help him time and time again. You would help him. You'd take this away from him if you could. But I think what you hear in your mind is the voice of Golgotha telling you,
look, sometimes boys have a period where they're extra terrible. And I know Duncan's an adult, he's a man, but from what you've described, he sounds like he's still, well, he's in a little bit of arrested development. Yeah. And maybe this is just that period for him.
Yeah.
Stay strong, Rick. He'll come around.
As she continues to set the 14th place that is never filled whenever you guys have meals for Duncan that he never comes to fill. And she smiles at you.
There's a sweet boy in there, I know it.
And she smiles a fang-toothed smile.
We can't do like a spell or something right now. This is more just a reaction roll.
Yes, this is a reaction roll. However, if you have anything that could add on to that, that would function with a reaction roll, then you can. Otherwise, like Hecatae had an ability that they could do that with, but if you don't, then it would just be a straight roll with any experiences that you would say would fit.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and use my community dice as well from the Orderborn experience. My 3 tenets are souvenir, show you care, refill the coffee pot when it's empty, and always stop and smell the hot dogs. I fish some leftover shrimp out of my pocket, and I say, Dunk, you don't gotta do this. There's so much more in this world. You don't have to take it. We'll give it to you. You don't have to take this much. You don't have to take. It's there for you. When we want to help you experience it. Just come home, son. Come home. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And I'm going to, if you'll allow me to use my D20 as my hope roll, I'll roll that as well. And then I'll add my dad to the bone experience to that, if that's okay.
Yes. I love that.
Truly outstanding.
I'm adding just my street smarts and 3 of my hope. I've already done the roll. I got a 17 with hope. Not bad, not bad. And I think what I'm drawing on is, as this creature, this entity, this vessel for this entity is talking about the prince's a birthright and how Mavros is his, how it's his, he owns it, it's his home. Zuìhuo feels that ghostly but comforting grip against their hand, and Ta shakes Ta's head and says, No, Mavros belongs to the people who live here. And there's always rich people who think that with their money, they own this city. And there's always corrupt politicians who think that with their connections, they own this city. But I know who actually owns this city. It's the people. The people who work here, who make this city what it is. And Yujin was one of those people. And all I did was take. But I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm going to choose to be different. And you can too. It's not too late. But if you make the wrong choice, I'm going to stab your eyes out too.
So that's a 17 plus a 29. What did Erzan get?
I got a 22, and what's happening with me is I have the image of Zanra, the woman that was like a mother to me, and the softness in her eyes and the care that she took as she taught me how to care myself for the plants around us. And it hits me in this moment that all the while she was teaching me how to take care and foster these other living things, what she was actually teaching me in addition to that was for me to learn to take care of myself. And I am pulling out, I rolled a 22 with everything added together, and I'm pulling out this plant that I had, this trimming of the plant used to consume Zanra, one that I had been growing from this trimming and developing, curating an appetite within this plant for Victor. I'm pulling this out and I'm throwing this plant right at him, and I'm conjuring this the very druid craft that he had me use to grow these hungry plants for his parties. I'm conjuring it right as he is running into this plant that I threw right at him, to make it grow and hopefully attach itself to him and start to consume him.
And what did Rick roll on his die?
I got a 23 with fear, and then I'm going to add my final prayer die to that to make it a 27.
The goal was 50. With two of you, you blew past that.
Yeah.
You all narrate for me what it looks like as he dies, and as Duncan's spirit is forced off of this plane and back to the gloaming from which it came. Whoever wants to. Erzan, because you had the most direct contact with him, do you want to narrate what it looks like as Guza dies?
I see my companions all rushing towards him, conjuring various abilities to defend themselves, each other, to restrain him and to fell him. And as we all attack him in our various ways at the same time, you sort of see this creature sort of slam into a wall almost as the vines start to wrap around him and this plant starts to grow. It's almost as if this spirit form gets siphoned out of him and his body becomes consumed by this giant carnivorous plant, almost like a snake wrapping itself around him and devouring him in these giant jaws. And we all hear in our heads a whisper of, "It's not your fault."
And as all of you hear that whisper, I think for each of you it means something different. I think for Zuìhuo and Erzan, it relates specifically to the people that you have lost. And I think for Rick and Hecatae, it relates to Duncan. And I think as you pierce this through, all of you feel not just the terror, all of the terror and all of the fear that Guza has been inflicting on others start to be inflicted upon him. But I think as your power pours forth, it's as though the shadowy power itself turns on him. And all of these shades, as these bodies are there propped up, it's as though their own shades, wherever they were originally, where they've been dispatched to, are teleported here, and they begin to consume his body. And you feel every iota of pain and fear and hopelessness that he had inflicted on these other people, inflicted on himself. And Victor Guza is completely torn asunder and is no more. And those of you who I think all of you feel sort of a connection to Duncan as well in this moment. And though Duncan doesn't say anything, you just kind of hear raggedy breath coming from him as his power is slipping away. You feel for the briefest moment that you were able to pierce that wall that he's put up, that spiked wall that he has put up against everything around him, that he will not let anyone through. And there's just the briefest moment of hope that peeks through as his energy dissipates. And you all are left standing here, having dealt with not only this great threat, but also with your own demons. I think you start to see each of these figures, all of these shades that had come back and devoured his body, they start to dissipate as well. And each of them looks at you. You can see the injuries that they had suffered in death start to heal themselves as they pass on to the next life. And I think for both Zuìhuo and Erzan, you see Zanra and Yujin appear as well, and they smile at you. And with each one that dissipates, you hear again, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault." And they dissipate as well, leaving all of you there. And as you stand there in this moment, you hear,
Well, I'm really going to have to fill out a lot of paperwork for this.
as Tom Wallaby, who's just been taking notes this whole time, just gives like a round of applause.
Wow, let's get out of here. This is an absolute hellhole.
And leads you back towards the exit. And that is where we were going to end this adventure.
Yay!
Wallaby.
Wallaby, you old rascal.
Incredible. all so very much for listening. I want to give a special shout out to each of our amazing cast members, starting with Luis Carazo. You can find him across social media using his full name, LuisCarazo. You can also find him on Exandria Unlimited Calamity, and currently in Tales Unrolled, a brand new AP series that Luis is the DM for. The cast also features Christian Navarro, Oscar Montoya, Mayana Barron, and Camelia Victoriano, and it's available on YouTube and wherever pods are cast. And I do want to give a special shout out to Tales Unrolled because it is a beautiful show. You absolutely should check it out. It is beautiful, it is moving, it is spiritual. Absolutely go check out that show and the amazing work that Luis does there. Thank you so much, Luis, a newcomer to the City of the Black Rose. Connie Chang, a very familiar face to fans of Three Black Halflings. You can find them by Connie Chang everywhere, except Twitter, because they've left Twitter. But they are the GM and creative director for the amazing Transplanar RPG, which recently actually wrapped Arc 3 of their flagship campaign, The Chaos Protocol. And if you're listening to this in June 2025, the Transplanar is currently celebrating both Pride Month and their 5-year anniversary, with tons of streams and celebrations. Folks, the 3BH to Transplanar pipeline is alive and well, and we would like it to continue. So if you are a fan of huge butch women, scary twinks, and stories about apocalypse, hope, grief, and generational trauma, Transplanar is the show for you. And I say it in the talkback, and I'm saying it again here. Literally every single time I say the word Transplanar in either this or any of the City of the Black Rose episodes, it is a reference to Transplanar. They are an amazing show. Absolutely go check them out. You can find them wherever pods are cast, as well as on YouTube. Now, moving on to Caldwell Tanner, cast member from our City of the Black Rose Herald of Shadows series. Incredible guy. You can find him at Caldy on Blue Sky and also on NADPod. If there is a Three Black Halflings to Transplanar pipeline, oftentimes that pipeline begins with NADPod, going from NADPod to Three Black Halflings and then to Transplanar. Thank you so much, Caldwell. We absolutely love you, and we love Rick. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have Candace the Magnificent. You can find them at the Candace Marie on Blue Sky and at Candace the Magnificent, and at Candace the Magnificent across social media. And you can hear them on Wayward Autumnal, Partial Veil, Blue and Blight, and currently they are starring in the stream series Shadows Over Gotham as Edie. Ooh. So go check all of that out. And if you heard this and this is the first time you're hearing the City of the Black Rose, this is the first time you're hearing Mavros in action, my goodness, there is so much more story to hear. We have 2 whole seasons of mysterious, magical, and murderous stories. You can go check out City of the Black Rose, and also Season 2, City of the Black Rose Herald of Shadows, features both Candace and Caldwell as their characters Hecatae and Rick. So absolutely go check those out. You can find them wherever pods are cast. And again, if you are listening to this in June of 2025, Three Black Halflings has a Kickstarter going for the City of the Black Rose setting. We've teamed up with our friends over at Roll and Play Press to produce a setting guide for the City of the Black Rose. So go head over there. There are so many goodies you can get by signing up for this thing. The book is going to be incredible. We're currently smashing through stretch goals. We've got more vignettes and everything planned. It's gonna be amazing. So go check out the City of the Black Rose Kickstarter. You can just go to Kickstarter.com and search City of the Black Rose, Google City of the Black Rose Kickstarter, or check the episode description. Thank you all so very much. And of course, if you enjoy this, you can go check out the talkback for this and talkbacks for both seasons of City of the Black Rose, as well as bonus episodes and talkbacks for our various other AP series over on the Three Black Halflings Patreon. That's patreon.com/3blackhalflings. Thank you all so very much. And we'll see you out there on the mean streets of Mavros.